to the next episode of Never Trust a Skinny Cook. So I know I've been promising you shrimp scampi and pasta, but my husband was gone for 2 weeks, so I had to cook his favorites for him. That was one of them, so I already cooked it this week, so I will be doing that next week. I will have a dinner party and do my shrimp scampi and pasta. But tonight we're going to do homemade chicken fried steak with hash browns and homemade biscuits and not so homemade gravy. I'm going to show you some of my tricks. So the first thing we're going to do is do the biscuits. In this bowl I have 2.5 cups of flour. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and that's it. So 2.5 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm going to whisk it together like this. Then you add 1/2 cup of cold butter. I'm using clarified butter. I just wanted to let everyone know clarified butter is the good part of the butter. You don't have to. You can use a 1/2 stick of regular butter, but it needs to be cold. I'm using clarified butter just because it's better. It's kind of expensive, but I will tell you, I get this at Cash and Carry. I think now it's called Smart Foods. It's only $25 for the big tub, where if you get it at the store, it's called ghee or clarified butter. It's like $9 for just a small thing. So if you're going to use clarified butter, which for some stuff it just is better, my shrimp scampi being one of them, the best place to get it is like Cash and Carry. $25 for the huge tub. It'll last forever, and it is good. So I'm going to put it back in the fridge. Come over here, Gaten. Come do right inside the bowl. So inside the bowl, you're going to cut this in. If you have like a pastry knife, you can use that. I don't have one. So I just use my big fork and just cut it all into the flour till it's lumpy all over the place. You want to get it really mixed in good into the flour mixture. Because next time you turn that on, you're going to be inside the bowl. Okay, so it should just be small clumps in the flour. Now, the next step, so that's a 1/2 cup of cold butter. Now, you want to do like a little well in the middle. So kind of get your flour all around and a little hole in the middle. And then we're going to add 1 cup of milk. Just like that. And then we're going to stir it together just lightly. You do not want to mix very much. You just kind of want to fold the flour down on it until it's just barely mixed and tacky. That's the key to a good biscuit. Very little mixing. Okay, so I've already preheated the oven to 425, and I have sprayed my pan with baking spray. Here's some choices you have. You can also use parchment paper, then you don't have to spray it with baking spray. I have parchment paper, but I'm not using it today. So hopefully you have a mixing mat. If you don't, you can use a cut board or whatever. So that barely mixed mixture, I'm going to dump onto my floured surface. As you notice, I have not balled it up together yet. There's plenty of time for that. You really just don't want to mix it much at all. So now that it's on here, now I'm going to do any kind of mixing that I do, which is still very little. You just kind of want to start patting it down a little tiny bit. Make sure that it's mixed. You can see the clumps of butter in there. So now that I've just barely patted it together, you don't even really need to use a rolling pin if you don't want to. You want it to be about 1 inch thick, and you can just press it out if you want. biscuits, you know, how they look isn't always important, unless you're in a restaurant or something. It's how they taste. So I'm going to do them about an inch thick, just kind of pat them down. Okay, then I'm going to start to cut them. Kind of flour this. I'm going to cut. There's one. Okay, I'm going to put it down. There's another. Put it down. Here's another. Put it down. Here's another. I do a little bit bigger ones. You can do small ones, big ones. It's kind of up to you. Kind of want them to be the same size though, so that baking time. Then I'm going to just bring these in together, kind of pat them a little bit. There you go. Pat it together a little bit. Do some more. I have some extra dough. I'm just going to kind of add some on the top of them. Kind of make them a little bit thicker. Which is perfectly fine. That's what I'm going to do. You can do it however you want. You can throw it away however you want. I'm just adding it on. It'll bake up nice, fluffy. Like I said, I don't really care how they look. I care how they taste. So I'm just going to add some. You don't have to do this part, but that's what I'm doing. I don't want to waste any of that butter. As far as I'm concerned. I probably in the beginning should have just made them a little thicker, but okay, so after you get them in the pan, mine aren't going to be the prettiest biscuits, but I also melt some clarified butter and brush it on the top. Let's take some melted butter and brush it on the top of them. Like I said, mine usually are a little prettier than this. What my mistake was is I didn't roll them thick enough to begin with. I guess I'm nervous or something. I don't know. So I only made 8 biscuits. You can make more. I like mine a little bigger, like I said. So the baking time on these is 20 minutes at 425. Mine might take a little bit longer because they're a little thicker. For 25 minutes. Okay. So while our biscuits are baking, I have taken about 3 tablespoons of oil, just vegetable oil. I'm using my electric fry pan. You can use whatever you want. I started to get it hot. I'm going to put in, I just use frozen hash browns. Putting them on once the oil is hot. And dump it enough in for just us. Start from there. I'm putting in about a cup of onions on the top. Spread them on here. And then salt and pepper. This salt and pepper taste I like kind of quite a bit. And then I'm going to cover it. You want it to cook for quite a while on the one side. You want them really brown before you flip them. So in my cast iron skillet, I have started the oil to heat. You want it quite hot. So how I can tell if it's ready is I'll show you when I'm done, or in a few minutes when I'm done coating these. You want to drop some of the flour in the oil. If it starts to sizzle, that means your oil's ready. So in here, Caden, why don't you come over here? In here I have 2 eggs. I'm going to whip them up. I'm just cooking for me and my husband. So, you know, it depends, obviously. I'm only using 1 cube steak. Buy it from the grocery store, already cubed up. This mixture right here. This mixture is 1.5 cups of flour. It is 3 tablespoons of seasoning salt. I use, I'm going to have to do a close-up, Alpine seasoning. It's from Montana. The best seasoning salt ever. So it has 3 tablespoons of that in it. A tablespoon of smoked paprika and 2 teaspoons of pepper. That's what this mixture has. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to coat this with flour. Then I'm going to put it in the egg wash. Then I'm going to coat it in the flour. Coat it in the flour. Then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put it in the egg. Then I'm really going to pack the flour mixture on. I do my fried chicken the same exact way. Okay. So there's the first one. I'm going to have Caden come over to the pan so we can see if it's ready. It is starting to sizzle, not as much as I would want it to. Look, Caden. So that right there, I would want it to sizzle a little bit quicker than that. So it's not quite hot enough. You just really want it to sizzle quick. Gonna wait just a couple seconds longer, and then I'm gonna put my first steak in there. After I've really coated it, just want to punch all that flour in those creases. Really want a good coating on it. Okay, and then I'm going to put it down in here, into the pan. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, and then we're going to let it cook on each side for 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and check these hash browns, see if they're ready to be flipped. So what you do is you just kind of go underneath them. If they're nice and golden brown, which they are, just go ahead and flip them. You only want to flip them 1 time. That's the key to good hash browns, even when they're frozen ones. Flip them 1 time. Get each side nice and crispy brown the first time, you know. And so we're going to go ahead and flip those. And that's it. Now you just let them cook on this side for probably, 10 minutes. I have them on like medium high in my electric skillet. And of course we're still waiting for the first 12 minutes of the chicken fried steak. We'll be back. So we are done. I'm going to take the chicken fried steak off. Alright, so we have that. We have the hash browns done. And the biscuits are done. Caden, you can come over here. Here are my biscuits. Set them up here. Alright, so I cheat with the gravy. I cheat a little bit. I'm going to add 2 cups of water to this gravy. And I'm going to show you the mix I use in just 1 second. Gravy. So I have found a gravy that is really good on its own, but I still doctor it up a little bit. I know you have all seen my Better Than Bouillon. Sorry, I should have had this out. I should have had this out. Sorry. So, this is what I use. It is called Pioneer. And this is what it is. You can get it at Walmart. It's not expensive. It is as close to homemade as you can get. But I always add just a little dollop of Better Than Bouillon chicken paste to it. It just seems to give it a little bit better of a taste. And then whisk it together, dump it into your hot pan, and just keep whisking until it's thick. While we're waiting for our gravy, I'm going to go ahead and start serving up the dinner for my husband. I have just done buttered corn in the microwave. He likes his corn frozen. There is homemade chicken fried steak, just like that. Okay, I'm gonna go over here and get his hash browns. Do you want gravy, Rich? He is not a gravy guy. I am a gravy girl. So I'm just giving him some corn. I just add butter, salt, and pepper to the corn in the microwave. And I'm going to give him a hot biscuit. And I'll do up mine. I just add gravy to the top of mine. Here is the gravy again.
Smells delicious.
So I will add gravy to mine. But I'm going to serve Rich his just like that. And that is chicken fried steak, homemade biscuits, hash browns, and gravy. So don't forget to like my page. Any questions you have, ask me. I will answer them. I don't check it as often as I should, but I'll check it more often. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a couple of my most requested things. I'm going to show you how to make my homemade croutons, which now my daughter makes at her grocery store and sells in the deli. And I am also going to make homemade bread tomorrow. I'm going to show you, if you have a KitchenAid, how easy it is to actually make homemade bread. I grew up with homemade bread. Delicious. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, Caden is also going to record me doing homemade chicken pot pie. And that's tomorrow. I'll see you till then. Never trust a skinny cook.